Hey guys, it's your boy, Baldface 8020, back again with another great withdrawal, Cymbalta withdrawal update. So, yeah, definitely hasn't been easy. Although, as I'm speaking to you right now, and I mean, I know I don't look great or sound great, but right this second, I feel okay. So quick rehash. Was on Cymbalta, the lowest dose, 20 milligrams, taken in the morning, until I think it's been exactly 3 weeks at this point. I don't know, it might be maybe, I don't know, around 3 weeks. And so I went off cold turkey. I knew that that it probably wasn't going to be able to last, that I would probably have to go on to something else. But I was thinking maybe, I would get onto something like Zoloft, which would be hopefully, maybe easier to get off of, but who knows. So I went into it with that in mind. I was able to make it through through 7 days. I made it through 7 days of just cold turkey Cymbalta. By then, the symptoms were bad enough that I had to go on something else. So I went on to start with Zoloft 25 milligrams. Next day, I bumped it up to 50. Stayed at 50 for a week, then bumped it up to 100. So, the first week, obviously, cold turkey, rough, lots of irritability. In some symptoms, I actually got better. I had some insomnia, digestive problems. But, in some ways I felt better, so it was like a mixed bag that first week. Overall, I felt worse, and it got worse as the week went on. But, I was able to handle it for 7 days. And I could have made it, one more day, or at least, I think, if I needed to. The second week was... and that first weekend was worse. I mean, it was so after the 7 days, day 8, I guess, that Saturday, that was hell. Sunday was hell for the early part of the day, and then fine later in the day. And then most of last week was hell. But it wasn't it was never fortunately, it was never constant torture. It was always bad. Sometimes it would be just absolutely horrible. Sometimes it would just be bad. But by the time it got to that Monday by the time I was into the second week and it was on the 50 milligrams, it was I would have some times that there's been ups and downs the whole times, but at least in that second week, after I was on the 50 milligrams, the ups would frequently feel either normal or almost normal. So sometimes pretty good. Usually the way it works, every day I wake up with really bad morning anxiety. It's gotten better these last 2 days, but and that's really bad upon waking, and then it sort of slowly fades over the rest of the day. Right now I've been awake for about 3 hours, and for me it's already faded. It probably faded about half an hour ago. Earlier in the week, it was taking longer than that. It was taking more 4 or 5 hours, and the initial anxiety was more severe. But that's basically that always happens so far, is the morning anxiety, or awakening anxiety if I don't actually wake up in the morning, and then that calms down over the next few hours, or like I said, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. It calms down over that. Then, from then until the early evening, I'm kind of in a stage where, it depends. I usually I usually feel bad, but not horrible. And then, late at night, so you'll be bad, but not horrible from 5 to 7, I guess. Around 7, it starts getting worse, and then it either gets worse until 10, till 11, till 12, till 1, And often then that's when it'll get really bad. Like, until it didn't happen on Thursday night, but until Thursday night, there was always one point in the night where it got so bad that I just couldn't do anything. All I could do was, it was like a kind of, it wasn't the same as the morning anxiety, but it was a kind of like anxious depression, maybe more on the depression end, less on the anxiety end. But it would get so bad that all I could do was turn off the lights and go to bed, even though I wasn't tired at all, and just lie there. I couldn't do anything else, and I'd lie there for 1 hour or 2 hours, but then and that when it got to that point where it was so bad that all I could do was lie down, lying down for a couple of hours, it would pretty much every time it did eventually fade out, and then by the time it was time for me to I would have at least a couple good hours before I went to sleep for real. And, so I don't really know what that was all about. I know that these things work in waves, but I don't really know what was going on there. So week 2 was bad, really bad. I would say week 3, this week that just passed, was worse. But I think part of the reason was because, I was adjusting to a new diet. I know that, I eat a lot of junk food, and I know that eating healthy takes the edge off my symptoms. I know that doesn't happen for everybody. Some people it will make a difference. But for me, I'm very sensitive to junk food, so it does make it worse for me. So cutting out those foods, I knew that it would help me, but that in and of itself causes withdrawal symptoms. So I was having double withdrawal this week. And I think that's why this week was so bad, because, the last junk food I ate was on Super Bowl night. And then, so I think I was in withdrawal until really through Thursday night, because Thursday night was the first night that I didn't have to go lie into bed. I mean, I definitely got to the point where I was suicidal. I was getting, again, that's how bad the depression is. It gets suicidal levels. So I definitely was in suicidal depression on Thursday night. However, it never got to the point where it was so bad that I couldn't do anything, that I couldn't function and had to just lie down. And then that following morning, yesterday morning, I woke up, had morning anxiety, but it was much less severe than it had been. So that could just be my body adjusting to the 100 milligrams of Zoloft. That I don't think that's it, but it's possible. I think the main thing, probably the only thing, is my body adjusting to the diet, to the new diet. Like I said, I'm not having so no caffeine or stimulants, no caffeine or caffeine-like substances. There's one thing. No sweeteners, and no refined grains. Nothing with a high glycemic index. Actually, that's not true. Nothing with a high glycemic load. I might have a high glycemic index, but not a high glycemic load. So I think, for me, that's that's a really big shock. It's and also it's just even if you didn't take out the healthiness or unhealthiness of the foods account, it's just a lot fewer carbs. Especially the first days, I was barely eating any carbs. Now I'm eating a lot of fruit. So I think that had a lot to do with it. But now that, like I said, I don't want to be eating like this. This sucks. I want to go, I finally, these last 2 days, I'm finally getting sugar cravings again, which I guess is a good sign, but I would rather go back to eating unhealthy. I don't know if you guys can tell how much weight I've lost, but it's been 3 weeks and I'm already down over 10 pounds. And I'm drinking a lot of water. So actually, I guess I'm not drinking that much water, but I'm drinking more water. I am doing some exercise. Seems like it helps a little bit. I don't know. And so yeah. But yeah, I don't really know what to expect going forward. I don't know how much longer this is going to last. I don't know. And that's frustrating, but right now I'm not like stressed about it, at least. And I'm certainly not suicidal. Like yesterday, I didn't have any suicidal thoughts the entire day. That was the first time that's happened. I did have times at night where it seemed like the depression was getting worse, but it never got suicidal. And so hey, that's progress. The thing is, I have no, like, is that even going to last? Like, even feeling this well, which isn't great, like, is that even going to last? I have no idea. You know, if I had to do it all over again, what I would have done is, there's really nothing you can do about like, at some point you're going to have to bite the bullet and go down to zero. What they tell you is to, like, just like a lot of people say, like, just take out one bead at a time, because these not Effexor, although that too. The Cymbalta tablets, they're not solid tablets. They're like these sheath things with these little pills, like these tiny little beads inside them. So you can take out one bead at a time. I've tried doing that, and that's caused horrible relapse. So I'm not going back to that. So I wouldn't have done that. But what I would have done is, instead of, I would have still stopped, like, Cymbalta, the 20 milligrams right away, like, completely. But the very first day, I would have started on 50 milligrams of Zoloft, because I would have known there's going to be horrible withdrawal symptoms. So, like, the thing is, it does seem like there's a correlation between how bad the initial withdrawal is and how bad the post-acute withdrawal is. It's a correlation. It's not exact. Some people have, like, no symptoms whatsoever and then still get hit with massive post-acute withdrawal. You don't know, especially, I mean, you don't know with, like, benzos or alcohol or heroin, and you really don't know with antidepressants, which, fuck your brain up even more than those. So, and I'm not saying to anybody to not use antidepressants. I'm just saying that, they have their place, but, they can also do damage. So, okay, so where was I? I'm sorry. Yeah, also this week I was getting a lot of, like, lightheadedness. I think that might have been the Zoloft adjusting, but that could have been withdrawal from the bad food too. I don't know. So anyway, yeah, I would have started on the 50 milligrams of Zoloft the same day that I stopped the Cymbalta. I think that would have made the initial withdrawal easier. I'm sure it would have. And I don't think that I would be having, like, as my symptoms now would be as bad as they are. Part of what I'm going through now is just recovering from that initial withdrawal. Recovering from that initial week, because that initial week fucked me up so much. So if that week had gone easier, which it would have if I had started it with Zoloft, I think I'd be way ahead of where I am now. So yeah, I don't know. Right now I'm on 100 milligrams of Zoloft. I've had people in the previous video saying, well, all you did was switch one problem for another. Yeah, that's true. However, the question is maybe it's one problem that's not as severe as the other problem. I was never going to be able to get off the Cymbalta. Sorry, I got a message I was reading. I was never going to get off the Cymbalta. It was never going to happen. So there is a chance that I will someday be able to get off Zoloft. Right now I'm thinking, if I continue to improve, based on last night, I don't know if that's going to happen, but if I continue to improve, maybe over the next few weeks, next few months, it stabilizes, and, then I can cut down to 25 milligrams of Zoloft, stay there for a month or 2 months, whatever, and then, try to get off. And if I can't get off, then I'm fucked, and if I can, great. I'm optimistic that I will be able to get off the Zoloft. I think mainly what I'm going through now is withdrawal from the Cymbalta, and I think that's the one that I was never going to be able to get off of. But I do think I'll be able to get off the Zoloft. but I definitely never would have gotten off the Cymbalta. So, you know, yeah, the only other thing is that I did go in for a ketamine infusion this week, because this week it was so bad on Tuesday I couldn't go into work, and then I was just I'm panicking, losing it, so I made a ketamine appointment, and for Wednesday. I was still pretty bad on Wednesday, but not as bad on Tuesday. The ketamine didn't do anything, but I also didn't get very deep this time, so I'm going to ask if I can get my dose kicked up. Also, I've lost some weight in a sense of the last one, so maybe I'll get deeper anyway. But we'll see how that goes, because I mean, hopefully that'll help at least a little bit. It definitely was scary to be in it and not have it help even for like a minute. Because I didn't get that deep. I think if I had gotten deeper, it might have had more of an antidepressant effect. But yeah, hopefully that'll help. So right now, cautiously optimistic that that the withdrawal stuff ends, or whatever it is I'm going through ends over the next week or two. I think 2 weeks is probably the best case scenario, but we'll see. And then who knows? It's like, for all I know, it's about to get worse. You just have to wait and see. So, but 3 weeks in the books. That's all for now. See you in the next.